International Service for Human Rights, please.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. ISHR welcomes the report of the Working Group on Business and Human Rights. In March, this Council adopted an historic resolution recognising the important role of human rights defenders in promoting and protecting human rights and calling on states to respect, protect and support their activities. In this context, we welcome the Working Group's recognition as to the important and legitimate role of civil society organisations, trade unions and human rights defenders in raising awareness of the human rights impacts and risks of business activities. The recent building collapse and loss of more than 1,000 lives in Rana Plaza, Bangladesh, tragically demonstrates the consequences that can flow from the failure of businesses to meaningfully consult with human rights defenders to identify, prevent, mitigate and remedy their adverse human rights impacts. Mr. Vice President, we are disturbed by the Working Group's reports of the harassment, persecution and reprisals faced by human rights defenders for their work investigating, protesting and seeking access to remedies for victims of alleged abuses linked to business activities. In this regard, we recall that paragraph 26 of the Guiding Principles provides that both states and transnational corporations and other business enterprises must not obstruct or impair the legitimate and peaceful activities of human rights defenders. We urge states to investigate any alleged acts of intimidation or reprisal against human rights defenders working on issues of corporate accountability. We also draw attention to paragraph 25 of the Guiding Principles, which sets out that, as part of the duty to protect against business-related human rights abuses, states must take appropriate steps to ensure that when such abuses occur within their territory or jurisdiction, those affected have access to effective remedy. Mr. Vice President, we strongly support the Working Group's recommendation that states increase protection and support for civil society organisations and human rights defenders that work on issues of corporate accountability. We would welcome the Working Group's concrete suggestions in this regard. Turning to Mr. Kiai's report, which we welcome, ISHR expresses deep concern at the disturbing global trend towards illegitimate and disproportionate restrictions on NGO access to funds. The right of NGOs and civil society organisations to access and receive funding is a fundamental aspect of the right to freedom of association enshrined in the ICCPR. It's also reflected in Resolution 22/6 on protecting human rights defenders adopted by this Council by consensus in March, with 77 co-sponsors. As a question, we'd be interested to hear the Special Rapporteur's insights as to whether, since that resolution was adopted, he's aware of any states, particularly co-sponsors, taking concrete steps to amend legislation to remove restrictions on access to funds as stipulated in OP9. Finally, Mr. Vice President, we note with grave concern the law passed in Nigeria yesterday outlawing the formation of organisations supporting the human rights of LGBT persons in clear violation of the ICCPR. Thank you.